Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if you're a brand new subscriber or a brand new viewer. My name is Kyle. The Batman is coming out next week. I cannot wait to see it. I've been pumped ever since that first trailer came out. In preparation for it though, I do want to talk about some Batman films that I have not reviewed yet on this channel. I have talked about some of them in the past, but today we're going to be covering one of the ones I haven't. Batman Mask of the Phantasm. In the movie, the Cape Crusader is framed for the murders of multiple different mob bosses and is soon faced up against the Phantasm, an aberration who basically can appear and disappear at random. For those who have been on my channel for a while, you know that I love Batman. I always have. He's always been one of my favorite superheroes. 1989's Batman by Tim Burton was one of my childhood favorite movies, and I love Nolan's films as well. So definitely, in terms of the character, it's not that hard to convince me to see a movie with Batman. His story is tragic, but it feels inspirational. It's a guy taking the tragedy of his childhood and using it to fight crime. And yet I am still pumped to see a movie in which I basically know the origin. However, Mask of the Phantasm did something quite different in terms of the Batman films. It focused on Batman, and it focused on Bruce Wayne. That was a problem a lot of the older Batman movies faced. It was so focused on the villains that we didn't get to learn much about the hero. But this movie definitely changes that dynamic. Mask of the Phantasm, though, is not a movie that I saw as a kid, unlike the other Batman movies. I definitely don't have that sort of kid nostalgia towards this movie that I think a lot of other fans of the character do. That being said, the first time I saw this movie, I kept thinking to myself, I wished I did see it as a kid, and viewing it in the eyes of an adult who has always liked animation and has always liked animated movies and loves the character of Batman, the idea of pairing them into this world feels so great because it's based off of a comic book. So you can definitely have some of those over-the-top elements in the movie, and you can kind of get away with it more because it's animated. Now that doesn't mean that they're trying to take a more kiddie route, not at all. The film is definitely drenched with noir, and for anyone that knows me personally, or for anyone that's been on the channel or saw my thesis film, you know that I love the genre that is film noir. The way they frame certain scenes, like Batman's appearances and disappearances, people running across rooftops, it all feels like you're stepping into the world of a comic book, and they really made it authentic. I really like the action scenes in the movie, and I like the fact that there is blood during these sequences. It wasn't just, oh, we're making this movie kid-friendly. The movie is PG, and it definitely earns that rating through its violence alone, but I think it's a good thing to show that in the movie because it allows the action to be more realistic. But to me, the action in the movie is secondary to the story, and I really feel like that's what this movie nails. It has a very compelling and dramatic story, a backstory to how Bruce Wayne became Batman, and you also get to witness his relationship with Andrea. I like their introduction in the cemetery because they're both essentially talking to their dead parents, and Andrea says something along the lines of, I like talking to them because it feels like they're there with me. It sounds like an odd moment, but definitely for a lot of people who have lost loved ones, you want to imagine them with you. You want to imagine them physically interacting with you. So it makes sense. You get the sense of epicness with the scale of Gotham. You get to see how tall the buildings are, the architecture. It's all really fantastic and well laid out. But when you have the smaller, more intimate moments of dialogue, they feel just as weighty because you understand why he wants to become Batman. And you definitely can sympathize with him because he feels in certain moments that, well, he chose this life to be brooding and just domineering, and yet he's found happiness, and that's detracting from what he set out to do ever since he wanted to avenge his parents' murder. Now, I won't say that this movie is perfect. It definitely has a couple of flaws, and to me, the biggest one is how the Phantasm just randomly appears and disappears and can sometimes take victims with it. I never quite understood the physics of it, and I know that the most common defense of that is, well, it's based off of a comic book. And while that's true, some things have to make some amount of sense, and that to me was always confusing. I didn't get it either times I've seen it. And while I'll never say no to having the Joker in a Batman movie, I definitely feel like his character felt almost like they didn't need him to be in the movie, but they had him in there because he's Batman's greatest arch nemesis. So I'm like, fine, that's okay. To me, the problem with the character is there's a moment where he infects the guy that's trying to see Andrea, and he's in the hospital laughing uncontrollably. I still don't know how he did it. In Tim Burton's Batman, it was described that Brand X was poisoning the customers and causing them to go on this laughing rampage, but in this movie, it's never properly conveyed. There's a couple of images that are a bit blurred throughout the movie. Some characters may come into a scene or come out of a scene, and it looks a little bit out of focus. I definitely think one more remaster is probably all it needs. Overall, Batman Mask of the Phantasm understands the character of Batman, and that is what the audience wants to see. We want to understand him. And I like the fact that we get to see his origin story while seeing him fight crime as the Caped Crusader. Again, the action is very well done. The interactions between characters are great. The dialogue is witty and sharp. I definitely like the fact that it's not playing to be just a kid's movie. It is a family movie. There's stuff in there that's great for kids. There's stuff that's great in there for adults. The voice acting is marvelous. Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill as Batman and the Joker, respectively. It's a very sleek and stylish movie. It's not a long film either. I think it's only an hour and 15 minutes. So either if you're somebody who has never seen the movie or somebody who hasn't watched it in a while, I would definitely give it another shot, and I definitely consider watching it. You can currently stream it on HBO Max. I'm going to give Batman Mask of the Phantasm a B+. Stay tuned for my next Batman review, which will be Batman Forever. That's going to be an interesting movie to talk about, because I have a lot of thoughts on that film for sure. But anyways, guys, in the meantime, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and give this video a like. The links to my social media pages can be found in the description box below, as well as my new website, KGG Pictures. You can find that as well in the description box below. Thank you all so much as always for watching. Look forward to my next Batman review, and stay tuned.